Hello there. Don't know if anybody's listening, but I thought since we have a little bit of time before our end of the day kind of stand up at the top of the hour, I wanted to kind of show a little bit of what Ben has been working on so that you can see how it looks. So like this is what briefing room looks like right now.
So wait, pause.
What is it?
Rewind.
Hi.
What is briefing room? Just because always we dive right in.
Always we dive right in.
And I think that we're looking at it obviously all day.
Yeah.
But what's briefing room? Who's it for? And where are we on this page?
Cool. So we're still working on how to describe it, but briefing room helps founders nurture and keep up to date. I'm feeling a little fried right now.
But it's a game we've been playing all day.
Okay.
It's try and get each other to introduce it to see if one point we click.
We click. All right. All right.
So Gal, what's this briefing room thing you're making?
So briefing room helps founders. I still want to say nurture. Keep their investors engaged and keep their kind of prospects warm through better email updates and personalized briefing rooms. Doesn't really tell you very much though, so we got to work on that. Basically, it's a system that does two things. One, it allows you to easily and in a fun way create email updates to go out to your shareholders. Often companies also use those same updates to keep potentially future investors warm about their progress.
Right. So if I raised an initial friends and family round and I'm going on to seed, or if I'm raising a seed and I'm going on for more follow-on investment, I'll be keeping people warm, updating them on our progress, hoping to wow and dazzle them to then be able to go back and ask.
Exactly. So the future investors, even your current investors,
right.
How much bandwidth do they actually have? Not a lot, right? People are very busy. They're looking at lots of different companies. Oftentimes, investors have more than one company in their portfolio. So, what can you do to make sure that if you're not top of mind, at least you're on their radar? And when you do get in touch, that's a serious thing, and that's worth them reading because they know that they're going to get, honest, relatively relevant information, and that may be interesting for those who are your prospects from investors. You might not actually be pitching to them for another year.
Which is nice to be able to have a conversation where you don't ask for money.
Exactly, but the passive way of including them in your investor updates means they see your company a little bit more. They can track your progress if they want to, and so by the time it comes to you actually getting ready to pitch them or getting ready to ask them for money, you've kind of developed a little bit of a relationship, even if you haven't really been talking to them or interacting with them.
You don't have to do that thing of explaining your business model. What is your business
exactly.
again? I don't really remember who you guys are. You're keeping them warm.
And a key part of that is actually measuring that engagement, right? And
right,
so
I don't know,
the way
so I send it, but are you the potential prospective investor? Or are you even looking at my stuff?
Exactly. And so some people use email tracking tools and all that kind of stuff, which is fine, but that shows opens and it shows clicks. And so with the briefing room that we're building, you actually have a whole experience that you can see if someone clicks through. That means they're a little bit more interested. They want to look at more details, and then you'll get more insights in terms of how they actually manipulate your data or have a look at what it is that you're choosing to share. You can choose to have people in different lists, in different rooms. So maybe you're going to have one briefing room for your shareholders. It's going to have a lot of detailed information, maybe more sensitive information, whereas the briefing room that you set up for prospects has half as much information because it's not as relevant for those people.
That could be depth of data or information, or it could be the real truth of, well, actually, this is our biggest challenge at the moment. You just share different things with different people.
Exactly. But that engagement is really important. because when you do have a challenge, when you have a big challenge, you want to know which of your shareholders is engaged, so that when you talk to them, it's not going to be taking them by surprise that you're in trouble. But also on the flip side, if you're thinking, you know what, I want to start raising money, or I need to raise money, and I know that these 5 people look at every single one of my update and they spend 30 seconds in my briefing room every month, that's probably worth a higher priority in terms of people to reach out to than the ones that have never read it.
Right, so that data, that intelligence is going to then help founders to prioritize those meetings and that outreach.
Exactly. So
that's briefing room and why.
We need to take that, what you just heard, and put it into one phrase.
We've been having a crack at it on Slack, and some people have been joining in, so definitely get involved if you do have feedback on that.
Yeah, I had one phrase that I was feeling good about, and then Fabs just knocked it down. Helpfully so. But anyway. So anyway, with that said, let's just take a look and see what Ben has done. And remember, keep in mind that we are not even finished day 3 yet. With what it is that we're building with Briefing Room.
We've got some people paying for the product already.
Exactly. And we're already into revenue, which is fantastic. So yeah, I need to go get the thing going. We need to add our revenue back up.
Up there.
Yeah. Well, tired, man. Okay, so anyway, let's have a look at this. So obviously dashboard. So what Ben was briefing us on is that tomorrow is data day. So it's about tracking, it's about showcasing and reporting. So all of the stuff you won't see any kind of data for or tracking on. And we're going to actually share the project management Coda that we've been working out of tomorrow. I think I just want to make sure it looks all nice. But anybody can then use that and see how far we are. Or are you saying?
I'm just informing everyone on Slack that tomorrow is data day.
Tomorrow is data day. Okay. But anyway, so you can see the demo here. You have your dashboard, which will be full of wonderful little things. You have updates, which is like email updates, rooms, these briefing rooms that we talked about, people, the different, managing people's lists and settings. So you can see I've added our different basics. You can also see at the top or down here, it says kendava.briefingroom.co. So there's already a functionality built in where you can have a custom domain, and that also means that we can offer a custom routing domain too. So if we wanted it to be updates.kendava.co or updates.kendava.com, we would be able to route that through Briefing Room without any extra work, which is pretty cool. You also have a team section. This we weren't really sure that whether or not was going to be possible.
Yeah.
Yep. So you'd be able to manage your team. So you can add a team member to help populate your stuff. So maybe you have a co-founder, or maybe you have someone that's responsible for marketing stuff, and you want them to write the marketing update every month or what have you. And then also what's pretty cool is manage companies, so that we also have the option to create a company. So if you have multiple companies, that might be interesting for you to explore.
With multiple shareholders.
Yep.
Again, one-stop shop.
It also gives us the opportunity to test, is this something that investors would be interested in purchasing for their portfolio? Maybe not, but it's an option and we get to test it. So we can go back to people, pretty straightforward. You can add a person right now and get their details. Rooms is pretty cool. So let's just see Kendava shareholders. So I've been messing around with this. We've been just basically.
You mean this isn't real?
This isn't real. Yeah, this isn't real. So anyway, you can see a couple of different types of blocks here. And again, remember, design and stuff hasn't really been focused on, and that's really going to be Friday. So the stuff that you're seeing now is the building blocks. And
what utility is there?
Exactly. Yeah. What can it do? Not how will it look.
Right.
So you can see that we have blocks here, and we can reorder them like that. This, you can see the our company bit.
So can you remind us what's rooms as opposed to updates?
So the room, if we look at the preview, So this right here you can't interact with. So each investor or each stakeholder is going to get a custom personalized link every time you send out an email address.
Hi Lizzie, here's your monthly update in an email.
Yeah.
Here's your link. I go and see it, and this is my view of Kendaba's update.
Yeah, and so it'll say somewhere like, Kendaba's update for Lizzie or something like that to show that it's a personalized, room for them.
So as an investor, I'm like,
yeah, it'll have your colors. So right now it has our colors like yellow and gray. So it'll have your colors. Maybe at a higher price point, you could white label it, so you won't even have our details on there. And this will be kind of like the always up-to-date thing that you're in complete control of. But let's say like this was for our shareholders, and this is all really detailed information. But then we also have a room for the other people, right? So the stakeholders. So we can say, so that only has one thing on it, and so it looks different, right? So you'd be able to create different rooms for different types of populations. And again, all of these will be behind passwordless links. So you don't have to worry about security in terms of like sharing them. People can't find them online, so you can still share your sensitive details. And every single person that you share it with will have their own custom link to get in there that eventually you'll be able to deactivate if you no longer want them to have access. So safer.
Yeah, and simpler for them in terms of low friction to be able to access your updates.
Yeah, exactly.
No password, no account creation.
So what are these blocks? Some of these blocks. So obviously it's a block that you can put in a video, a block that you can put in a photo. And again, until we build some of these like graphs and other features, you can use that photo block or that image block to just have a screenshot of a graph and then link that to whatever data system you have.
So I look at our mix panel, I take a screenshot, and I upload
exactly, and you put it there and whatever. This though, the R company with the dots right here, this is an example of something that Ben's actually made to try and visualize some data. So we can make another one here. So adding content, data dots. Let's see, like what should we have? Number of, or how many customers do we have? I don't know, right? So let's say we were a SaaS company and we say North American, and we have 5. And in Asia, North America, Asia, and we have 3. And Africa, we have 7, right? So just simple items and numbers. But then when that pops out, it then has a nice little representation of that data. So you can use that for like your team size, the number of shareholders you have, the number of offices you're in, just a nice little way of illustrating a bit of and obviously links and text and all good stuff.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on our color scheme. That'd be cool to hear.
What, do you have thoughts about it?
I don't love it, but I don't know what I would love.
You mean you don't love this?
No. I'm thinking specifically of like reading in what you were talking about in terms of accessibility.
Yeah.
Like I think that is really important and needs testing. And I just don't know whether the mustard is, as a pop color, is that accessible.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I was thinking.
That's true. But, and I know it's not rigged up yet, but you will be able to, where's the company basics? Is it here?
Yeah,
so
your own branding.
You'll be able to add your branding, and you have your primary color and your secondary color. So I imagine that's going to permeate throughout the whole experience. So yeah, that's how it looks right now. And again, this is after less than 3 days, so that's been pretty impressive. So aside from getting some more revenue today, which is pretty awesome, another thing happened. We heard from another kind of supporter.
Yeah, I wonder if you can actually show one of the things that we've been working on. So we've been sharing the documents that we've been working out of for our scheduling of all those different speakers that we have had so far this week. This has been Coda, and we've referred to it a couple of times this week because Gelb is amazing about creating these things. And so we reached out to Coda, and they actually got in touch and said, we love what you guys are doing. We're all about makers making things, and they've given us some support. So we're going to dive in a bit more detail tomorrow about how we can really leverage Coda, because it's super powerful, isn't it? What you're able to do and create with it.
Yeah, I mean, like what you're seeing here is deceptively simple. All of these things, if you want, you can see all of these things are linked to tables, and there quite a bit of linking going on there. So let's see. Let's look at Adib, for example. So today is Wednesday, and it might not look like much, but Adib, right? So this is a conversation that we're having with Adib, or that we just showed. So the time's there. You have all of this information. It's an interview. We have the length for our planning. We have a role. We have his image, and some other information. Then we can pull that same detail into that same data for our guests, and this is a directory of all of our guests, but it's still pulling it from the same data. So if you update it in one place, you can showcase it all over the place. So what that kind of looks like in other ways. Here's a draft of this is an older version of our kind of project management thing, which I'll share over. So like this is a graph that you then can use to showcase status or something like that. Or you can say, right, I want to see what all my tasks are like, and you can summarize them over here. And anyway, I love Coda. It's awesome. Anyway, they got in touch.
They got in touch, and they are sponsoring us
Yeah.
this week. So that's been really good, and we've already highlighted today Coda are joining Landbot and Missinglettr, who've also supported the week so far.
Yeah, and of course, Anywhere Works, which is where we are right now.
Anywhere Works. Although you can't see the beautifulness because we're...
Well, you'll see it in about...
You're going to see it for the live teardown in...
50 minutes.
Less than an hour.
Less
We're putting
than
the
an
product
hour.
to a test with real live humans who haven't seen it before. So that's going to be fresh.
Yeah, fresh.
Pretty cool.
Thanks very much for those of you who are kind of chatting in and writing. Really appreciate it. But again, please keep giving your feedback, and please make it public. You know, tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us what, you know, how do you think the product's looking? Do you think there's even a market? You know?
And that's exactly why we're doing this whole week, is be as transparent as possible. So don't worry at all about direct messages. That's what the public Slack channels are for. We want to hear that, the criticism and feedback and suggestions, because that's what makes us better.
Yeah. So I think we're going to sit tight and maybe regroup around 6 o'clock UK time, so about 20 minutes, and then we'll start prepping for our teardown with some special guests.
All right.
So,
chat then.
yeah. We'll just keep working until then.
Sure.
Yeah. We on? Oh. They might have only been able to hear me. I'm sorry, everyone. Lizzie was softer than normal.